Brighten up those already bright mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lekter. Mornings at the Cabin.
You know, just a nice sleep in is what you need sometimes. We all need it. It's a Monday morning. Check that. Friday morning. Why is it that the Friday morning after a short week, after a long weekend, always seems excruciating? I don't know if it's just me. Maybe you're feeling the same way too. Welcome to Mornings at the Cabin. Lekter with you. The wheel is experiencing, well, not what I just described, because he doesn't get long weekends, as you've probably heard him mention once or twice. And he likes to, he likes to keep it to himself. Doesn't like to bring anyone else down or let you in on what's annoying him. But I'm sure he will as we move along, because this is his show, and this is Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Wheeler and Lekter with you on your Friday morning. The show still brought to you by Ptarmigan Theatrics' production of Mamma Mia, though there are literally like less than 40 tickets left for the entire run. So I think it's pretty much sold out. Like there's some scattered tickets, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't go check it out at nacnt.ca to see if you can find a couple or one or two or whatever. Maybe you can get people to switcheroo, play musical chairs, whatever. It's going to be a great time. Last night they had a fantastic opening with a great crowd. So congratulations to everybody at Ptarmigan Theatrics for another successful opening night.
I've had questions.
Oh, questions?
When to be at the show. I see on nacnt.ca it says 7:30 p.m.
7:30 curtain.
7:30 curtain.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in Yellowknife time, that means 7:45.
Apparently on the poster, they didn't put the start time.
Oh, well, 7:30.
Yeah, people make mistakes.
People do make mistakes on posters.
7:30.
As much as I do like being a resource for information, like people reach out and ask us things all the time.
It's not as safe.
It's not necessarily,
endeavor.
But also it's there at the website.
Yeah,
it's on the website.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But they had a big old crowd last night. Big old raucous crowd. So
good show last night?
Apparently.
Awesome.
I was not there.
Awesome.
So
that dress rehearsal sounded a little schmoke.
Schmoke, but that's exactly why you have a good show to start, because everybody's on their toes.
Yeah.
This popped up in my memories, my Facebook memories this morning.
Uh-huh.
And my attitude has not changed towards Northwest Tel. But 3 years ago today, thank you, Facebook, by the way. 3 years ago today, how many people would support a mass delinquency in payment to Northwest Tel? I'm just going to click on this original post, and I don't know. No one.
Not one person.
Not one person. I don't think anybody backed me up on that.
Well, people don't like delinquents.
That's
Jesse.
right. They don't. They don't like delinquents.
No.
They like on-timers. They like people who are,
that's right.
Prompt.
They don't like Mornings at the Cabin or the hosts within.
Why? What? What do you mean?
I mean, nothing. We started on time. You're just tuning in now. The show is going ahead.
We've been talking for 10 straight minutes since 7 o'clock.
People love that, right?
People do love that.
Yeah.
That's what I keep hearing. The notes I'm getting on a daily basis is that we talk not enough, as a matter of fact. And I mean, okay, and I get it. We whinge about Northwest Tel a lot. We pay a lot for internet up here.
No, not we.
We? Huh?
Not we.
You do too.
Don't we?
I've heard you.
Don't we this?
All right. I think we, as a territory and a city, we definitely would love more options or just better options. It would be nice if there was infrastructure in place that we could all have high-speed internet and it was all reasonably priced and there wasn't some bandwidth limit that is nuts. Like, I got the 200 gig package and it costs a month. And
Alibaba?
No, that's not.
Wow.
That's pretty much what it sounded like. I was going to say 100 blah 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 a month. But it did come out as Alibaba a month, which is not inaccurate. It's a lot of money.
And not cheap.
Not cheap.
No.
So I think everybody would just love more options, and I think that's, or at least better options. And I mean, hopefully we're working towards that at some point, that everybody in the territory can have high-speed internet, because it's no longer like a luxury or anything like that. The access to the internet should be a right. This is for everybody. You know?
Nice ideals.
Nice
Very
ideals.
nice.
That's right. That's why I'm a liberal. I've got great ideals with no follow-through. So that's me all over.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Merci, Sophie.
This blood runs red. Something. I don't know. Possibly purple.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
We talked about Avengers opening up this weekend. We're not going to get into it. I won't get into it.
All right.
But it's looking like it's going to be the biggest movie, one of the biggest movies of all time, of course.
Right.
They're projecting like a $350 million opening weekend or some crazy thing.
I'm projecting that for Cabin Radio.
Oh, all right.
Oh, yeah, and actually, no. Projections are based on reality.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
All right.
Well, we took in a bunch of Girl Guide cookies so we could, I don't know, sell those.
Nobody's taking us up on that bootleg offer.
Not at all. Yeah. Not at all. All that money would go towards people who support the Girl Guides, which is us.
Yeah.
We support them.
That's right.
But I want to talk about Des Loreen, our good friend up in Inuvik, friend of the show, friend of the cabin.
And host of the Destro Show.
Host of the Destro Show. Well, he is a huge Marvel fan.
Yes.
And he has to wait, I think, until next week to go down to Whitehorse to see it. But what he did, and, you know, I'm putting him out on Front Street here a little bit.
You are.
He watched it. He watched it online last night. But he put it out there, too. It's on his public Facebook.
Yeah.
So he watched a camera. And now, if you don't want to know what a camera is, when you can rip stuff off the internet, you can get stuff that are loaded up from screeners, like from a DVD or a Blu-ray or whatever, or from a screener that's like handed out during awards time. That happens often.
Right.
Or you can get real old school bootleg, which is like somebody holding a camera in the theater watching it. I cannot watch movies like that. I can't. I can understand where Des is, where he sits, because he's just like, well, I can't see it for a week, and I'm not going to not see it because it'll be spoiled for me by the time. So I texted him, or I messaged him last night, I was on his thread last night and saying there's a cam for this already, because like the world premiere was like Tuesday, and it just opened. It's opened last night. It's open here tonight. First showing is sold out. And so I said, is there a cam of this already? He said, a few. And he said, encoded subs in foreign languages and shaky cams at times. This is why I can't watch it. But he did say, I can see blank hit blank with the blank stone, and blank says blank, and blank picks up blank somehow. So,
spoiler free.
Really? Well,
thanks, Des.
I can extrapolate from that.
Oh, the blanks were filled.
The blanks were filled by me and my imagination. So Des has ruined the movie for me. There's no point in seeing it.
I've never watched I've never wanted to see a movie so badly that I download, an inferior version of it. It's
the worst.
I can't imagine any movie that I would want to do that for.
I mean, I can imagine, knowing Des and knowing what a big fan of Marvel he is, I could see him doing that.
Yeah.
And, well, he did it.
He did.
So, like, that made sense to me, especially since he's in a place where he can't see it.
Yeah.
Like, he's got no opportunity to see it till next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then he gets to see it on a glorious big screen next week. Right? So,
I kicked out a guy who was recording something on a
You
camera one
did?
time. Oh, yeah.
Really?
Back when I was working in the theater.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
There was a guy with a camcorder?
Yeah.
How did we get, like, that is a very old school practice. And, like, back in the day, guys used to have, like, shoulder cameras.
Yeah.
Like, with a VHS tape in them, and they were, like, switching tapes.
Yeah. I
Like,
think
how
this
did
might have
you-
had a CD. I
Oh,
don't know.
ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Or DVD, yeah.
I think and some people do it on their phones, too, which is just nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, exactly. I mean, I know that we spend too much money. It costs too much to go to the movies, and I will download some things from time to time. If you're listening, I don't care. You people that do that. But like, yeah, I can't imagine needing to watch a movie so bad that it has to be like such low quality that it'd be like, yeah, I start watching it. I'm like, this, I can't. It's too distracting. This is garbage.
Well, and it's interesting, too, because, I mean, like, that's a situation where the movie hasn't actually come out into theaters yet.
Yes.
Right? And somehow someone's got a camera version. I don't even know how that happens, but it did.
Yeah.
This one, this was fully in a theater, like, released to the public. Anyone could go and watch it. And this guy brought a camera, and he's shooting it. And it's just like, the movie's already out there, and that just kind of shows you exactly what time it was. It was like 2004, 2003 or something like that, when, that was still actually, It was kind of like the humble beginnings of bootlegging movies and stuff like that.
I think the humble beginnings like back in the 80s when guys would like you'd have a blank tape and you would just like sell it on the street. Here is a VHS.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
VHS tape
on the corner
of like Ghostbusters. Here it is. It sounds like crap and it looks terrible, but you can see it
for $2.
For $2.
Yeah. Steven Spielberg thanked me personally for that.
Did he really?
It was a good
Sent you a note, huh?
Yeah, sent me a note.
Thanks for chomping down on this stuff.
Like, thank you for saving me like $25 in revenue.
Do you remember those anti-pirating ads that used to play before movies?
Oh yeah,
because they put a big old crackdown. And I'm not advocating for pirating everything because it does have an effect on the business. It absolutely does. However, when those ads came out, it was like you wouldn't download a car, would you? I'm like, yeah, I would. You wouldn't download a house? Yes, I would.
And you know what? We have 3D printers.
Exactly.
Now.
This is very ineffective marketing. Well, it's the same if you download a movie. No, it's not.
It's interesting that we're talking about that now because when you were talking about Avengers yesterday and you were talking about, the projected grossing of the movie. And I was thinking to myself, I didn't mention it at the time, but I was thinking to myself, I remember back in the day when it seemed like the movie industry was in real trouble.
It still
really
is.
Like, how is it in trouble?
It's still in a huge amount of trouble. Okay, cool. Well, one of the reasons that box office numbers are up is because ticket sales are up, but also ticket prices are up. So what you see now is that like this movie is going to make $2 billion,
right?
But then other movies get seen less because it's so expensive to go to movies. So when I'm talking about pirating movies, I'm talking about like one of the first movies I ever pirated was Star Wars Episode 3, and the reason I pirated it because I saw it 4 times in the theater. I was like, you know what, George Lucas, you have my money,
right?
I'm going to get this copy so I can watch it at home whenever I want. And I can watch my favorite parts because there's a bunch of it's garbage. So I did that. And I mean, I won't download like indie movies or anything like that. I'm not like some like I don't know. I just can't. I won't do that. But I mean, if Avengers comes across, I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll watch that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that movie's going to make its money.
But it's hard to imagine that we were talking about, the movie industry and like, are theaters a viable business for the future?
I mean,
when all this piracy is happening, and then meanwhile we're talking about movies that are grossing $350 million.
But I mean, like the studio system is very, very broken. You have like 8 to 10 trying to be what they call tentpole pictures, making trying to make $300 to $500 million worldwide at least, and then you have these smaller releases that don't get seen as much. But what you're also seeing happening is that like some of the quality of some of these other movies are coming up as well. So more people are going to the movies. It's just that they're going to very specific ones,
right?
So like you have to go to different theaters to see indie stuff, which is unfortunate. because you do want to get these voices out there.
Well, and I feel like now, like since that time, and the way that streaming services have grown the way they have to this point, where we've got Netflix and Amazon Prime and Crave and all these different options, and all these there's a lot of like you say, like smaller releases that I think are getting a bit more attention by these big companies and getting some money put behind them.
That's exactly right, and that's what that's one of the reasons that these smaller movies are still doing well, is because of streaming services. Because the movie theater industry has kind of geared towards these huge movies. That's how these studios are going to make their money. The theaters are going to make their money too with all the concession sales, because they don't make much off ticket sales. And then indie movies have a better chance on like something like Netflix. So something like Roma, which may not have been released in theaters years ago, is now released on Netflix, gets 10 Academy Award nominations, wins Best Director, and all this stuff. So, I mean, like, we are seeing a very change in the game. And that being said, I'd download Avengers Endgame.
So despite your and Dez's best efforts in supporting piracy, the industry's doing just fine.
Des Lorraine, Space Pirate.
Cabin Radio's morning show podcast. All the best chat, none of the embarrassing mistakes.
As we scroll through our Facebooks, as we do every morning, because it's kind of where we find stuff to talk about, Lekter found something so inspiring to talk about. That what do you want to tell everybody?
Yeah, sure. Well,
all right,
Jesse, it's my 12-year Faceversary.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
How old are you?
I am 32 years old.
More than a third of your life has been spent on Facebook.
Yeah. pretty much.
All right. Well, happy Faceversary.
Thank you.
And that just popped up in your feed saying, hey, you joined us 12 years ago on April 26th.
I love how Facebook puts together these like super half-assed videos.
Oh my God. And there's like 3 pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
Celebrate your friendship. And there's like 1 picture. It's like floating in a bubble. And you're like, great.
You joined in 2007. Here's 3 pictures from last year.
Yeah. Yay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd take a little look back and see what else was happening on April 26, 2007.
Such a crazy time.
Would you like to hear some
I
events?
would like to hear 2000. We were so innocent back then.
Trip back in time.
Well,
with your pal
the
Lekter.
The Great Recession hadn't happened yet. It had started, but it hadn't reached full-fledged, like almost Great Depression status. So the global economy was in collapse, but hadn't fully collapsed yet.
That's true.
So like it was a much more innocent time. We're post 9/11, pre-Great Recession. Just that wild and crazy time when we didn't know what was going on, and we were involved in 2 never-ending wars.
Yes, George W. Bush was still in office, protecting us all from that awful Barack Obama.
Now watch this drive.
Which, of course, would happen the next year. Yes, it was under the sign of Taurus when I joined Facebook.
Oh,
I don't know what that means or how
doesn't
that's
have anything to
relevant.
do with anything.
A historical event, the Queen's Pier, was officially closed by the Hong Kong government after a bitter struggle by conservationists in order to facilitate land reclamation in Hong Kong's Central District.
Wow, you're really aligning with some serious stuff here.
A famous death. American political advisor and film executive Jack Valenti died at age 85.
Oh, okay, well, Jack Valenti, that's a name I've heard before.
And finally, in that special week of April, people in the U.S., specifically the U.S.
So we're not even on the date you joined? You're just around the week?
Oh, we're getting a little less specific as we move on. Jack Valenti died on that day. Don't worry. Wait, was that his name? I've already forgotten his name. Yes, Jack Valenti. The Queen's Pier was closed on that day, but now we're getting a little more around the date.
Oh, I see. So nothing else happened on this day?
Well, I might have been listening on that day to Give It To Me by Timbaland.
Which one's that?
I don't know.
Give it to me.
Charlie Bartlett, which was directed by John Pohl, was one of the most viewed movies released in 2007.
In the UK? Are you, is this a UK?
No, U.S.
Okay.
Yeah, U.S., UK, those are the only places that matter, right?
Okay.
And finally, while I heard that song before by Mary Higgins Clark was one of the best-selling books, which I have never read. No. On TV, people were watching Madame Hollywood, which I've never seen.
What?
And if you liked video games, you were probably playing Ancient Wars Sparta, which I've never played.
Wow.
Or Championship Manager 2008.
What a time to be alive.
What a time.
What a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12 years. We've come so far.
Right before the whole world went poop house. Thank you for that fascinating retrospective into the week that was when you joined Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh.
I clearly had my priorities in line.
I was going to say that I joined Facebook, I think, in February of 2007, but in 2013, after a terrible breakup, I deleted Facebook for 2 years. And then only reason I came back onto it is because we started working at that other place.
I'm not going to lie. I joined solely because at the time, a girl I liked was on Facebook.
That's exactly right. And that's probably why so many people joined. It's like, oh, I'm going to add you on Facebook. What's Facebook? Well, just check it out. Here's Facebook, and you'll be my first friend. It's like, great.
So I added her as a friend, poked her, and threw a sheep at her.
Threw a sheep at her. I remember that. And poking. And poking. It still sounds dirty.
Yep.
You poked her. That's terrible. Well, happy Facebook.
Thanks, bud.
All right. You've really grown as a person.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
Good friend of the show and CBC mainstay, Garrett Hinchy, shared this on his page this morning, and it's apparently from today's Yellowknifer, unless he's just having a good old crank at everybody. Love fries? Immediate franchising opportunity for New York Fries in Yellowknife. That's right. The thing that's in a kiosk in a mall, which we don't have, will soon be coming to Yellowknife, apparently. Maybe, if someone wants to pick up that mantle. There's an opportunity for you to franchise a New York Fries. Where would you put it?
Well, that's a good question. I love that the hook, though, is love fries.
Love fries?
Because
who doesn't?
If you were to franchise this and made fries every day, I don't think you'd love fries.
Not after a while. Like, I'm sick of smelling like potatoes. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. That's an interesting question, and like right out of the blue.
Yeah, kind of out of the blue. I mean, obviously, we're opening it up for a lot more opportunities, right? We wanted that KFC, Starbucks, Taco Bell. Apparently, that's not happening. But KFC is still 100%, apparently. And then
Taco Bell's not happening anymore?
Apparently, this is the last I heard is that Starbucks and Taco Bell are up in the air. Up in the air.
Okay.
And KFC is the only thing that's still 100% from that whole thing.
Surprised that Starbucks is up in the air.
Especially
Especially if it's going uptown, on the other side, downtown to
Going downtown.
old-time Yellowknifers.
I'm talking downtown.
We're going to get really confusing as we move along in the future. All of the terms that used to be different terms and are now updated terms, like Circle K now being where Winks used to be, but old-time people still think it's where Shell was. And I've heard that...
I like that you call it Winks.
And you
weren't around when it was called Winks.
I never did until I moved up here, and I was only...
It was a Max when you moved here, though.
Well, see, I was... And this was probably erroneously communicated to me.
Erroneously?
Yes. Nice. Big words. You can tell it's not 7:23 in the morning. I was told that it was called Winks because the Max logo was winking.
Oh.
I don't think that's correct.
It used to actually be called Winks. It was like an owl as well, and it was a winking owl.
Right.
And then Max started to wink, I guess. I don't know. But it was a Winks, then it was a Max, now it's a Circle K.
And I've kind of gathered that since.
And then the Shell store used to be the Circle K, and then it became the food store.
Yeah.
And now it's the Shell food store. It was never an OK economy, whoever put that out there. It was never that.
And recently I was informed that the Walmart side of town...
Yep. Walmart, what we call uptown for whatever friggin' reason.
Well, yeah, that's thought of as like longtime Yellowknifers as downtown.
No, it's not.
Honestly, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
I'm a longtime Yellowknifer, and no, it isn't.
Longer time than you.
No,
before your time.
Born here in 1981.
Yeah,
People when the Avon Center was the territorial hospital.
Yeah, people who were alive before that.
Call it downtown?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
You know there was
They're
life
too old,
before you
and
were
they don't know
born,
what they're
right?
talking about. They're too old. They don't know what they're talking about. We're in downtown right now.
That's
Old Town, downtown, and then the rest.
Yeah, see, I agree with you. But this is...
How is that downtown?
I don't know.
There's not even a government building in that section of the city.
This is why I am telling you that it is very confusing.
The tallest building on that side of the town... On that side of town is Tim Hortons with that inflatable coffee cup on it.
Or maybe it was that downtown, what we know currently now as downtown, here where we are, was thought of by old towners as uptown because you're going up.
Well, it was called like Newtown.
Newtown. All right, back to New York Fries.
Old Town, Newtown. You put a pile of dilapidated cars in the middle of Franklin, and cordon off the area, just like this painting right here.
Yes, right.
The old towners fight the new towners.
It all makes sense in someone's mind. Whose that is, I have no idea.
I reject that on principle.
Okay.
Like past Northlands is not downtown. Sorry.
All right. I agree. I agree.
There's not even places to walk around really. Like there's not like a central hub of anything there. It's just there's a big intersection and then there's a Walmart.
And then there's a Max.
And then there's a Max.
Or a Circle K. That used to be a Max.
A
That used to be a
Swinks.
Winks.
Yeah, that's right.
That, I don't know what was before that.
Yeah.
Anyway, New York Fries.
New York Fries. Where's it going to go? It usually, the only time I've ever seen a New York Fries, I've never seen a standalone New York Fries. I've seen them in a kiosk at a mall. Again.
Yeah.
Which we don't have.
Well, I mean, we have malls.
We have a space.
With space.
We have a space that doesn't have a food court.
No, not necessarily. Although there is room now next to Tim Hortons in Center Square Mall.
Now
because,
there is room all over that place.
But if you want to call that little nook just below the stairs,
the food
Center
nook.
Square Mall, the food nook. There we go. We got tons of room now because the Source isn't there anymore.
No,
so there's all that space.
Yeah,
there's where Aurora Sensations used to be, right beside where Tim Hortons is now. That's open. So, you know what? That would actually be a really good amount of space for New York Fries. I don't know if they have the facilities there, but...
used to be able to buy crack pipes there. New York Fries. I think I've been to a New York Fries once in my life.
I've never eaten at a New York Fries.
Never?
No. There was one at the theater that I worked at, and I still never ate there.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, now we can open one.
Maybe
you know what?
I'll give it a shot if
you know
it
what?
comes here.
Let's just do it here.
Just do,
Do it here, right here in the cabin.
Just add to our restaurant.
We'll grab a couple of
business.
fryers and we'll do it up. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Franchising opportunity. The cabin is opening New York fries. Stay tuned for more.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca.